Day felt like the perfect day to address a theory that many people out there have been speculating on, that Meghan Markle has lied about her age. Is she actually older?
On May 8th, 2019. And he was born on May 6th, 2019. Can somebody please explain that to us?
Tom Bower, the legendary royal author, is sharpening his quill for a new edition of his book set to reveal huge secrets inside Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's marriage.
Tom Bower just dropped a wild claim that reportedly has Meghan Markle's legal team moving fast behind the scenes. The royal biographer is famous for digging deep and asking the questions others avoid. Now he is publicly raising eyebrows about whether the Duchess of Sussex may have misrepresented her age for years.
Nothing original here.
I hope you're having the best birthday you've ever had. Thank you for everything.
Which is really such a fake. When she was younger.
Hi, Daddy. I got an English award.
100% a bully brat.
Bower points to old magazine archives, university records, and even comments from people who knew her earlier. He argues the timeline looks messy and suspicious, like a story with too many versions. What makes this moment louder than the usual headlines is the talk about paperwork. Supporters say the documents could settle the debate, while critics say it is all speculation.
But what is she not contextually aware? She's trying to hide something. This is really sloppy.
Either way, reports claim Meghan is furious about the accusations. Before jumping into the age controversy, you have to know exactly who Tom Bower is. This is not some random tabloid writer chasing attention online. Bower is known across Britain as a hard-hitting investigative biographer who spends years digging into the lives of powerful people. He has written major exposés on figures like Robert Maxwell, Mohammed Al-Fayed, Simon Cowell, and even Prince Charles. His books are known for heavy research, long interviews, and stacks of background checks on every claim he includes. Then, in 2022, he released Revenge, Meghan, Harry, and the War Between the Windsors. The book sparked huge debate because it portrayed Meghan as highly strategic, ambitious, and determined to rise in powerful social circles no matter the challenge. But one section of Bower's work grabbed serious attention. It focused on Meghan's early years, her time around Hollywood, and the timeline of her life story. According to Bower's research, some of the numbers simply don't line up the way people expect. Public records widely list Meghan's birthday as August 4th, 1981, which would place her in her mid-40s today. But Bower claims he found older material that suggests a very different timeline. He argues that certain records and references could place her several years older than what is commonly reported. That is not a small difference. And critics say a gap like that would raise a lot of questions about how the story developed. Things became even louder when Bower spoke publicly about what he found.
To do is face up to the blackmail that's coming from California and in some way or other undermine Harry's and Meghan's credibility.
Reports say Meghan's team strongly pushed back against the claims and dismissed the idea that anything about her biography was inaccurate. One example Bower pointed to was a magazine feature from March 1997 in the 17 magazine, where Meghan was reportedly listed as 21 years old. If the widely reported 1981 birth year is correct, she would have been around 15 or 16 at that time. That detail alone created a debate online, because a 6-year gap is not something people ignore easily. Tom Bower did not just stumble across that article and rush it into a headline. According to his account, he went deeper and checked everything carefully. He reportedly reviewed physical magazine archives, confirmed the original publication date, and verified that the article itself was real and published when it said it was. That raises a big question that people online keep debating. Either the magazine made a major mistake about the age of someone who was not yet widely known, or the information connected to her timeline changed somewhere along the way. Critics say that kind of discrepancy naturally sparks curiosity, but that was not the only detail Bower pointed to. He also claimed that Meghan's IMDb profile at one point listed a different birth year, 1977 instead of the widely reported 1981.
Choose people who don't want to be written about on the whole, whose lives are shrouded in mystery, and they want to hide their secrets. And I just love digging away to find out what they did.
Screenshots shared online have been cited in discussions about it. Profiles on entertainment sites sometimes change over time, especially early in an actor's career. But Bauer argues the difference is worth questioning. In Hollywood, age can influence which roles actors are considered for. Because of that, online profiles and biographies sometimes get updated or corrected over the years. Bauer says he noticed the earlier listing and documented it, adding another layer to the ongoing debate. Next comes Northwestern University, Meghan's alma mater. According to widely reported information, she graduated in 2003 with a double major in theater and international studies, based on the commonly listed birth year that would place her at about 22 years old at graduation, which seems like a completely normal timeline on the surface. But Tom Bauer claims the story becomes more complicated when he looked deeper into the people who studied alongside her.
Is Megsy really lying about her age? Now, when you Google her, it says that she was born on the 4th of August 1981, and with today being her birthday as of me recording this video, it's saying that she's 44 years old.
Bauer says he reviewed alumni directories, examined old group photos, and even contacted several former students who appeared in pictures from that time. According to him, many of the classmates connected to those photos are now in their early to mid-50s rather than their early 40s. One image that often gets mentioned is a group photo from Northwestern's Salsa Club. Meghan appears in the back row with a group of students smiling for the camera. Bauer said he contacted multiple people who appeared in that photo and asked about their birth years. He claims several told him they were born in the early 1970s. That detail sparked another wave of speculation online. Some people argue it could simply mean she socialized with older students during college, which is not unusual on a campus. Others believe the age discussion deserves more scrutiny. One former classmate reportedly told Bauer, speaking anonymously, "We all believed Meghan was older than what later appeared publicly." Some people who spoke with Bauer claimed the age discussion was never treated like a huge issue back then. According to them, it was more like quiet speculation that floated around but never turned into a big deal at the time. Years later, though, critics started asking a different question. If parts of the timeline were unclear before, they wonder what else might not match up. And this is where the story takes another strange turn. Thomas Markle, Meghan's father, has given many interviews since her marriage to Prince Harry. He has spoken about her childhood, their family history, and their complicated relationship. But according to Bauer, when the conversation turned directly to Meghan's birth year, the response was noticeably hesitant. Bauer says that during an interview for his research, he asked Thomas Markle a direct question about the year Meghan was born. He claims Thomas paused and responded, "You should check the records yourself. Just check the records." That answer sparked even more debate among people already questioning the timeline.
Stupidly put out so many dumb lies, the car chase, etc., that now nobody believes anything they say. And that's scary and dangerous because it sometimes puts us off in directions that we need to be better about. But man, the more and more I look at and research this stuff, I'm not obsessed with these two. I'm looking at them with a very clear eye.
Bauer also spoke with Meghan's half-sister, Samantha Markle, who was born in 1964. Public information often describes a large age gap between the two. However, Samantha reportedly told Bauer that the difference in age was smaller than what has been widely repeated in public discussions. Samantha Markle reportedly told Bauer that the two sisters felt closer in age while growing up than many people realize. That detail sparked more discussion around the timeline people often reference. If Meghan was born in 1981, the gap between her and Samantha, who was born in 1964, would be about 17 years. That would mean Samantha was already a teenager when Meghan was born. But Bauer says some people have speculated about earlier possible birth years, such as the mid-1970s. If that were the case, the age gap would shrink to around 9 to 11 years. With a smaller gap, the picture of their childhood dynamic would look different. According to Samantha's recollection shared with Bauer, it felt more like having a younger sibling close enough in age to interact and spend time together while growing up. Then the discussion shifts to Meghan's early acting career. If the widely reported 1981 birth year is correct, she would have been about 25 years old when she appeared as a briefcase model on Deal or No Deal in 2006. That age lines up with many performers working their way into the entertainment industry. However, Bauer says that when he looked closely at her early career timeline, he saw what he describes as a long period of auditions and smaller roles.
When she was 12 years of age. So there is something that is not connecting. There is something that is not right. And I haven't been able to get a hold of a birth certificate, of a copy of her birth certificate. So if any of you can get it for me, please do so. So I started getting some emails from some of the subscribers, and they said, what if Meghan Markle was adopted? What if there more to her birth than just her age?
In the early 2000s, Meghan was reportedly trying for many opportunities, including minor appearances and background parts, as she worked to build her career in Hollywood. During those early years, Meghan picked up small parts in television shows that many viewers barely remember today. She also did commercial work and smaller gigs just to keep moving forward in the industry. That kind of slow climb is actually very common for actors trying to break into Hollywood. But critics like Tom Bauer say the timeline raises questions when you compare it with how casting in the industry often works. In many cases, casting directors place strong focus on age ranges when choosing actors for certain roles. Once performers reach a certain age without major recognition, they can sometimes be pushed toward different character types, like older siblings or parental roles. Bauer argues that Meghan's career path looked similar to someone trying hard to stay competitive in a very tough system. Her biggest break came in 2011 when she landed the role of Rachel Zane on Suits. If the commonly reported 1981 birth year is correct, she would have been around 30 at the time, which still fits the role. But critics who question the timeline argue that if she were several years older, it might have made casting more complicated. The debate resurfaced again years later when Archie was born in May 2019. His birth certificate listed standard information, including the mother's name, Rachel Meghan Markle. At first, the birth certificate looked completely standard. It listed the usual official information, including the mother's full name, Rachel Meghan Markle. Documents like that are typically permanent records and rarely attract much attention. But weeks later, reports surfaced that the certificate had been amended. The updated version removed the first and middle names and instead listed the title, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. That change quickly became a talking point online. Tom Bauer later looked into the situation while researching royal records. According to his reporting, adjustments to royal birth certificates are not very common, and the change raised eyebrows among some observers.
Could it be that she doesn't know her own age because she's been lied to by her father and mother? Could it be that's why Doria doesn't have a bond with Meghan Markle? Because what mother leaves her daughter when she's 3 or 4 years? Okay, maybe she went to jail. Those are the rumors.
A few palace insiders reportedly told him they could not recall another situation exactly like it. Supporters of Meghan have argued that royal titles and formal documentation sometimes evolve after major life changes. However, Bauer offered a different interpretation in his analysis. He suggested the update might have made it harder to connect certain records tied to her legal name across older documents. In his view, records connected to a full legal name could potentially be compared with other files, like school documents or earlier identification. Records. Critics say that is why the change attracted so much attention. Bauer ultimately argued that decisions like this often spark speculation, especially when public figures already face intense scrutiny. So how did Meghan reportedly react when Tom Bauer's book started making headlines? According to sources speaking in media reports, the response behind the scenes was intense. Some outlets claimed she was extremely upset about the accusations and the way the claims were spreading. Reports also suggested that legal representatives contacted the publisher and strongly challenged several of the statements in the book. They reportedly described the age allegations as baseless and defamatory, pushing back against the narrative that was gaining traction online. But Bauer stood by his research. He pointed to what he described as supporting material, including archived publications, public records, and interviews with people connected to the timeline he examined. Because of that, the dispute quickly turned into a battle of credibility in the public conversation. After the controversy exploded, Meghan herself did not publicly address the specific claims in detail. There were no direct press conferences or lengthy statements focused only on that topic. Instead, the discussion continued mostly through media commentary and online debate. Bauer argues that the lack of a direct response leaves questions hanging in the air. Supporters of Meghan say silence can also be a strategy to avoid amplifying rumors. Either way, the controversy kept circulating, with critics claiming it raises doubts and supporters dismissing it as speculation. This is where the discussion starts getting legally complicated. Some commentators have speculated about what could happen if incorrect personal details ever appeared on official paperwork like contracts or formal documents. In general, legal experts often explain that providing false information on certain official records could create serious legal issues. Tom Bower says he spoke with legal professionals while researching his book, asking about hypothetical situations involving inaccurate information in formal documents. According to him,
It's absolutely ruthless.
This is Meghan's first trip to the snow. Dad took her up to Big.
the lawyers explained that if key facts were knowingly misrepresented in legal paperwork, it could potentially create disputes or challenges later on. However, they also noted that situations like that depend heavily on proof, context, and the specific laws involved. When it comes to royal marriages, the legal structure is even more complex because it connects to titles, royal protocol, and public records. Experts often say changes or disputes in documentation could lead to complicated legal questions, though such cases are extremely rare and would require clear evidence. Bower also raised another argument related to business contracts. Public figures often sign agreements with media companies and partners based partly on their public biography and reputation. If major, personal details were ever proven to be inaccurate, critics say it could potentially create contract disputes, though companies usually review those matters carefully before taking action. Then, Bower touched on an even more controversial topic. Over the years, some rumors have circulated online claiming Meghan may have had a child earlier in life before her public career. However, there is no verified evidence supporting that claim, and it remains unproven speculation that continues to appear in online discussions. Tom Bower did not make a direct claim about those rumors in his book. Instead, he pointed to what he describes as gaps in Meghan's early timeline that, in his view, have never been fully explained. He suggested that when people examine different dates, interviews, and career milestones, some details appear unclear or open to interpretation. Bower argues that if the timeline were different from what is commonly reported, certain periods of her early life might look easier to piece together. However, he does not present definitive proof of that idea.
The reality is not that. The reality is she's a joke.
Much of the discussion he references comes from speculation, private conversations, and people who claim to know information but have not publicly confirmed it. Because of that, the topic remains unverified and heavily debated online. Rumors often spread quickly around public figures, especially when their personal history becomes the focus of intense media attention. What Bower ultimately does in the book is lay out the material he gathered and allow readers to interpret it themselves. Rather than announcing a specific alternative birth year, he presents the questions and explains why he believes the timeline deserves scrutiny. His broader argument is that Meghan's public story, including details about her background and rise in the public spotlight, has been carefully managed over the years. Critics who agree with Bower say the image presented to the public feels highly polished and controlled. Supporters of Meghan strongly disagree, arguing that many of the accusations rely on speculation rather than confirmed facts. Critics like Tom Bower argue that the public image surrounding Meghan Markle does not fully match the story they believe is behind the scenes. In his view, the version of Meghan that the public sees, the humanitarian, the royal figure, the global celebrity, is a carefully managed image shaped over many years in the spotlight. Bower claims there are pieces of her timeline that simply do not fit together the way people expect. Questions about dates, records, and past details continue to circulate online, and critics say the inconsistencies keep fueling the debate. So the big question people keep asking is simple. Is Meghan really in her mid-40s as widely reported, or could the timeline be different? Until clear records settle the conversation, the speculation will likely continue. One thing is certain, stories like this keep the royal world buzzing with controversy and investigation. If you want more deep dives into royal drama, investigations, and the stories making headlines, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. And drop a comment below with what you think about this debate.